Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I know it's a bit late here in Bonn, but earlier for you and hopefully tuning in and elsewhere in the world. My name is Timothy Damon. I'm founder and president of the Global Youth Development Institute, and it is my pleasure to join you here with my amazing colleagues to talk about this excellent action opportunity which will be coming up next year. Of course, we're here at COP23, but we're already looking ahead. How are civil society, especially young people, going to more actively engage in climate action, climate solutions, the action that's happening on the ground outside of these UN processes? And in particular, we want to highlight the Global Climate Action Summit, which will happen in California next September. And we really see this as a key opportunity for not just all of civil society, but especially young people, students, to be able to accelerate their action in what they're doing. And my colleagues will fill us in on more of the details about the avenues of engagement, what are some of the gaps in youth engagement that need to be addressed if we're going to move this forward. And then at the end, we'll have questions, comments, discussion from everyone here in the audience. So without further ado from my end, and you can also see here on the screen if you want to know more about the summit, please check out their homepage. And so with that, our first distinguished panelist will be John R. Seidel, who is the Director of Sustainability for the Mayor's Office of Resilience in the City of Atlanta. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Tim, and thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully it's not too late for people in here. I would like to think that, at least some of the youth are have that fire burning in our engine, and that we can keep that energy up, because every single piece of energy is needed for us to be able to take meaningful action on climate and unite. So reason why I'm here, I'm the Director of Sustainability for Mayor Reed's Office of Resilience in Atlanta. I could tell you as a 24-year-old and somebody who graduated from college 2 years ago, the importance of not just caring, but actually engaging, not just being educated, but actually using that education for real meaningful action. Who has been to a conference before and all you've heard is people talking? Yeah. I'm glad I'm not alone. Otherwise, give me your list for y'all's events. But it is so exciting to be able to have something not just educates you, but actually empowers you to make a real difference. And the really cool thing I'm excited about is not just having this available, these action items available to those that are actually there, but those that can actually be phoning in or going in through VR. And so let me tell you, just working at the city level, it's so important to have young people engaging at that local level. We have a 100% clean energy plan. And the only reason why that was possible is because we had over 300 people come out and break history in Atlanta, an historical record, 6.5 hours of public comment to our city council, pushing for a clean energy future. 100% by 2035 is an ambitious goal for Atlanta, but because we had the buy-in from the community, and the majority of them were for climate action and were for this clean energy, it's pretty meaningful. It's pretty darn meaningful. So I'm really excited about this summit, and I really don't want to take up any more time, but really excited to see how cities can fit into this, as well as being able to bring up the youth as well.
Wonderful.
Well, we've just had a last-minute addition to the panel. Thank you very, very much for making your time to be with us. We're very, very honored to have Amy Barnes from the state of California. Please, you have the floor.
Great, thank you, and sorry that I'm late. I was coming from the Bonn zone where there was quite an impressive protest going on. Rode the bike over here and just got off. So anyways, great to be here, and thank you for organizing. Yeah, maybe I can just start by talking a little bit about the summit, what the origins of the summit are. But just to start off by saying that we are really excited to have youth engagement. So we hope you will all join us in San Francisco next year and bring your friends and your friends' friends. And yeah, so the summit. Governor Brown, who's the governor of California, in the lead up to Paris, basically looked at all of us and said, I'm a governor of a state, I'm not a president of a country. What can I do to help make Paris a success. And so in the lead up to that, we decided to launch the Under 2 Coalition, which Atlanta is a member of. And the idea was to get states and cities together and kind of frankly model good behavior for countries. So to say we can commit to a long-term decarbonization pathway, we can commit to Under 2, and we've actually now added language that says 1.5. And so we started off with a modest group of 12 states. We launched in May of 2015, and we kind of had like a joke goal in the office that our goal was going to be 100 jurisdictions by Paris, and lo and behold, we had 100 jurisdictions come together in Paris, and we actually just announced our 200th jurisdiction joining here in Bonn. Anyways, so that was great, and I think that's just one example of how all of us, and I know I'm preaching to the choir because all of us, really showed up at Paris and were instrumental in helping to make Paris a success, because we both, I think, emboldened national governments to go further because they knew that we were behind them. But we also held a line behind them and said, you know, you need to go at least this far because we're here, and if you don't, we're going to continue to go forward. And so I think I used to work in the negotiations, and Paris for me was a success beyond my wildest imagination. If you had told me that we would get language that said 1.5, I would have told you were a liar. But we got it, and it was great. But it was also, we all know, not enough to get us to actually 1.5. The NDCs that countries, the nationally determined contributions that countries came to the table with, were not enough to get us to 1.5. And that's if they're, you know, we're between 3 and 4 if everybody implements what they said they would do. And in our country, the United States, we're going to have a really hard time doing that under our current administration. So after the summit, after the success of Paris, Christiana Figueres, the former UNFCCC executive secretary, reached out to the governor and said, how can we bottle this energy and keep it moving forward so that when it comes to 2018, when we're having the facilitative dialogue, as we're starting on the road to 2020, how can we do it again? How can we, you know, bring everybody back to the table again and re-rev this engine of ambition so that countries really feel both like we're supporting them to do more, we're modeling good behavior, but we're holding a line behind them that says, you know, we expect you to come and do what we're doing. And thus the Global Climate Action Summit was born. So, basic details, it's 12th through 14th of September 2018 in San Francisco. The governor announced the invitation at the Global Citizen concert alongside the G20 and invited, I think, every possible group of people that could ever come to anything, scientists, mathematicians, musicians, youth, everyone. But really, I think if there is any bar to entry, it is that you have to demonstrate that you are acting and that you are ratcheting up your ambition, whether that means a state, a country, a business, a person. Prove that you are doing something to show, you know, if you made a commitment in Paris, what you're doing to implement that, how far you've come, and then think about what you can do to do more. We're gonna, we don't have a detailed program yet, so I can't tell you, you know, at 11 a.m. on the 13th, there will be this panel. But I think it's really an exciting opportunity to have youth involvement to help push us, to help bring the voice of, you know, the generation that will have to deal with the consequences of the carbon that we're emitting into the atmosphere now. So we hope you will join, attend, hold everybody there to account, speak, and yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We look forward to welcoming you to San Francisco, and I would love to talk to anybody if you have ideas. No ideas too big or too small for the summit. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Do you want me to speak next? Or?
Yes, please.
You introduce me.
So, yes, thank you very much, Amy, for the warm invitation to the summit. And next, then, we have Christina Stevens, who is the UN advisor to IAAI and also an award-winning author and filmmaker. So, you have the floor.
Yes, well, you said bring your ideas, come with ideas, and there are a lot of ideas out there, and I'm here to tell you one initiative that actually we began 5 years ago, and it's a global youth music contest. And in Rio +20, we had entries from 40 nations, and we got 300 entries. And I want to show you one because this is just tells you the space that we're in when we want to speak to the youth, and when we want youth to speak to each other and let us all know how they're feeling. What is the best space that we can be in? The space that language doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what language you speak, because when you sing, when it comes from your heart, when you can move people's hearts and minds. And this is where we're not just going to implement something like the Sustainable Development Goals, we're going to activate them and just set fire to them. So I want to show you something, one of the videos that, one of the wasn't the winning video, but it's a really good video that we had from the Seychelles in Rio +20. And I want you to kind of look at that because that tells you everything.
Listen to this.
So you can see where this is going to head, because this is going to be massive. It's been building since we began, as I said, in Rio +20. And this global youth music contest is open to everyone. And, you can be professional, you can be amateur, it really doesn't matter. And we're going to build a coalition, and we're going to build it from the hearts, from within out. So please tell everyone you know, if you know someone, a manager, if you know someone who just likes to tinker away. A cappella doesn't matter. You don't have to play an instrument. So what we're going to say is let the music talk, let the rhythm play, let the world know what the youth have to say.
Yeah.
Go.
Thank you for the inspiration, Christina. And next we have Ari Eisenstadt. He's an impact investor and SDG activist, as well as a GLOCHA partner. And he certainly is one of my go-to people when it would come to anything related to investment. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all these incredible panelists. It's such an honor to be sitting with all of you. And thank you to everyone here and everyone watching online. This is so exciting to be here in Bonn, Germany for COP23. This is my second COP, and it's really inspiring to see the mobilization that's happened around these issues. I've been an SDG activist since the Sustainable Development Goal negotiations back in 2015, where I had the honor of representing the International Chamber of Commerce, and looking at how the private sector can really engage and support these important issues of sustainable development. And since then, I've had the exciting opportunity to collaborate with different groups, from the Secretariat Innovation Team to UN Women, the Working Group on Youth and Gender Equality, to the Climate Summit here, the Human Rights Council. And a big theme that we've seen in that is really on youth empowerment, and how in so many cases young people are absent from this conversation. The interesting thing in California, in Silicon Valley, where I'm from, is that we see the opposite balance of power, that older people are concerned that they're being removed from the conversation. However, here in these negotiations, it's very rare to see someone under 30. And I'm 29 years old, so I have a few more months of being a youth activist. So I'm really going to drive that home. And a big focus, I think, and a big excitement now with this California summit is really the opportunity for non-state and non-party stakeholders to really get involved. And I think that this next year can really be that year of the youth to do that. And I think California is the perfect place to really showcase that. California, if it were on its own, would be the 5th largest economy in the world. And young people under 30 are the largest demographic in the world. We're also seeing the largest transfer of wealth in human history to this new millennial generation. And young people around the world share similar values of social, of environmental, and economic equality and equity. And we're seeing this model of Silicon Valley, of Hollywood, really becoming a global phenomenon. And I hope that we can really drive that home and support these young innovators and social activists for sustainable development, and especially climate action. And so with that, we found that this music contest, this Give Youth a Chance music contest, is really the best way to mobilize action around climate activism. Music is truly a global, universal language. My first entrepreneurial venture was starting a DJ company when I was 13. Playing on CDs that you could scratch for the first time. And it's been unbelievable in the past couple years, going to over 30 countries and seeing how music really brings people together. And with that planetary health, we really need to focus on mental health and personal well-being. And with young people, unfortunately, suicide is one of the leading causes of death in the world. So we hope that with this music competition, that we can bring awareness to our planetary, environmental, climate issues, but also really bring meaning and purpose to our young people and our economy. An organization I'm working with called Moeda, a crypto credit union. It's a blockchain-based investment banking platform investing in social entrepreneurs dedicated to gender equality and sustainable development. Will be helping host this platform on the technology. And in the coming weeks, we'll be putting together a coalition of activists, of stakeholders within the music and innovation spaces. So we want to welcome all of you to join us in this initiative, in getting as many activists and musicians as a part of this Give Youth a Chance campaign. With that, our vision is to go beyond this conference and continue to make the greater Silicon Valley, the greater California, the greater world having a real climate impact and allowing youth to take the lead on that. So I'm really excited to help this incredible group in this initiative, and welcome to any questions, any way that we can help and really highlight the projects that you all are working on. Please reach out to us and get involved, and hope to see you in California soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ari, for bringing us some innovation and excitement as well. And handing over then to Miroslav Polzer. He is, of course, the CEO of IAAI and the founder of the Glocha multi-stakeholder engagement platform, which some of us have already been mentioning. So Miro, take it away.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, everybody, and especially thank you to Amy for being with us from the government of California. So the topic of today's press conference, youth engagement in the California Summit, is embedded in this bigger systemic challenge of young people being disconnected from this global level of discussion about climate change. Very many people are not aware that they are part of the problem and part of the solution. And we have this music initiative which can help to activate people for this cause. But it's also, once people are activated, like people in the Seychelles that we've seen in the music video, it's the question, where can they take action? How can they take meaningful and rewarding action? If they really want to fully engage in helping the world to overcome the climate crisis, then there need to be resources, that they have a living, that they have a job. And for all this, it's everywhere in the world, institutions and individuals have struggling with this challenge. And at our multi-stakeholder partnership, GLOCHA, we are building solutions in a global manner, in a large-scale manner. We are creating the institutional and technological infrastructure based using blockchain technology, partnering with relevant UN organizations, but also with city level and local community players, that we really give local people also on the local level entry points where they can document, get verified and evaluated and incentivized their activities. And we are convinced that the California Summit will be a huge opportunity to really have a milestone placed where resources will be mobilized from all the wealth holders there in California, because we are targeting also the Giving Pledge signatories. Global philanthropy has extreme wealth potentials. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have convinced 168 of the billionaires of the world, and they have pledged to give back to society half of their wealth before they die. And so there are $400 billion out there on global philanthropy money, and we are trying to convince them to channel part of this money into building this ecosystem and the resources for youth engagement in climate action. And many of these wealth holders are also based in California. And so we think that if all these potentials of California with the entertainment industry, tech industry, leadership, and the resources, that we can build bridges between the young people all over the world who want to help save the climate with these resources in California, but also in their places. We can be a game changer, contributing to the success of the California Summit, but also helping young people to find their place in this modern world, which is threatened by the climate change.
Thank you, Miro. Just for a moment before we hand over to questions and comments from the audience, I want to quickly highlight that as we're talking about youth, that's actually very diverse and heterogeneous. And in fact, when it comes to youth empowerment, we need to be concerned with also empowering and elevating the youth who are in the most disadvantaged position or most vulnerable, or who are on the front lines of climate change. And in fact, we've worked here at COP23 with funding from the German ministries to have the Global South Scholarships 2017, where we have 30 young people from almost as many countries who are here at the COP, having been empowered to meaningfully participate. And these are also the kinds of youth-led and empowering initiatives that GLOCHA and these partnerships are meant to support and mobilize more resources for. So if that's something you're interested in, please grab me afterwards. But do we have any questions? And I believe someone will bring you a microphone.
Yeah. There's the microphone.
Questions, comments?
You tell to whom?
Yep. Here in the front, almost front.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for being here today and giving some time to make sure that the youth is engaged. My name is Fatma Suwaidi from the United Arab Emirates. So my question is, how can we be involved? I mean, you said so many things about the California Climate Action Summit, and it looks very exciting. And so how can international youth from different countries become involved in such an important summit? How can we be part of it? Thank you.
Perhaps the next question also.
Thanks, Fatma. I live in Abu Dhabi, so hi, how are you? It's a great question, and it's one that we are honestly still trying to figure out the answer to, and we would love input from the youth and from everybody in terms of what you would like to, how you would like to be involved, what you think you could bring. It's great that, I think there are a lot of people who are already sort of taking off and have work that is holding over from previous events, from Rio and from other COPs that they can bring through to the summit. But we would really just appreciate any input that you might have. I think we're hoping that we will have some opportunities for youth to speak on panels. And, we'd really love to create opportunities for not just, we're trying to sort of stay away from the silos that we are often in this process. So, we might have a youth space, but we don't want to just have sort of the youth panel over here and the business panel over here and the investor panel over there. So we would like to figure out how to create some interesting conversations between, for example, somebody in the youth activist community, a head of state, a CEO, see what kinds of interesting sort of conversations we can curate. And, in addition to the core sort of summit events that will be taking place where we're expecting a couple thousand people, we're already seeing that there are a lot of other events that are coming to San Francisco at that time. So people are moving, big other convenings to be there. And so I think in addition to sort of the core summit, there will be, for example, there's a huge global investors conference called PRI in person that's moved their meeting alongside. So there's going to be not just our meeting, but I think hundreds, if not thousands of other people sort of there convening, taking the opportunity to be together as we do at COPs to sort of talk and exchange ideas, but really, again, as I said, sort of thinking about how we can push for more ambition. I think a couple of things that I would be really interested for sort of youth feedback and thinking on that we've been talking about. I've been really thinking about, so what are the levers for change, and obviously education is an important part of that. Activism is an important part of that. How we spend our money is an important part of that. And so the education piece, I think in particular, thinking about how we can make sure that curriculum is teaching youth about climate and climate impacts and climate solutions and how they can be a part of that. I think, something we want to think about. Obviously, as Ari was saying, the Bay Area is both a very young place and a hotbed of innovation. So is there something we can do around, tech, hackathon, bring in youth, have sort of, that have creative ideas for apps or businesses that are related to climate. And then we've also been talking about having a big interfaith opening ceremony, so bringing youth and indigenous leaders and people from all faith backgrounds together in San Francisco to really kick it off with just this positive spirit. I think all of those are sort of in the mix right now. So give us your best ideas, tell us what you would like to do, and we would be very grateful to hear what you have to say.
If I could just add, I think we're just about out of time, but today we really wanted to focus on the art side of climate action. So with this music competition and all the creative agencies and industries around that, tomorrow morning at 9:30 in this room, we'll have a press conference on more of the technology side. So talking about technological and social innovation and entrepreneurship for youth empowerment. We also have the educational and communication outreach stakeholders community meetings Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings in the Bond Zone. So we'd love to learn more about what you're passionate about and how we can plug you into this initiative for youth empowerment.
Reach out with your ideas, your stories, your conversations. I mean, we're here to help, so contact us, and we're here to help support you. That's what we're doing, so.
And I would like also to add that this Global Challenges Youth Music Contest has an online competition component which will be launched in January, and there will be this call for music, and around Earth Day we will start the voting phase, and then we will bring the finalists to an edutainment event during the climate summit in California, and there we will try to have really a great show which then shall be also broadcasted globally by TV stations, and tapping also into this celebrities ecosystem in California, really having high profile talent there and inspiring leaders who will then also inspire youth climate action all around the world. Just that you know some more details regarding the design. And in terms of events, we would like to be one of the flagship events also during the summit. We will see how we can make this happen.
Yeah, and since everybody else went, the last sentence I have to say, and I think it's how cities fit into this, is being involved at your community level and being able to reach a critical mass by creating a movement. And not just creating a movement amongst greenies or people who are tree huggers or that support the climate, but those that come from a music background, those that come from a environmental justice, social justice, criminal justice background, which is that music and rap, especially in Atlanta, and the innovation entrepreneurship that you're covering tomorrow. Those are all major sectors, not all of them, but those are all super major sectors of what we're interested in and what makes us tick. And so we want to bring that into this specific summit and actually give us the real tools to be able not just to unite, but to actually take meaningful action.
Thank you.
But thank you, everyone, and for the question. Unfortunately, we are at our time limit at this point, but it was an excellent question. If you have more, catch us afterwards, and certainly beyond the suggestions here, like all of our organizations will be involved and want to promote youth inclusion in the summit and in general. So I'm confident we'll have many of these concrete avenues to be able to have a very, very amazing youth engagement for the summit. Thank you for joining us. See you later.